We have learnt in the last lecture that we perform sporting activities using our body, and that is why we need to understand our details body structure and function to understand whether a particular training program will be useful or not. Let us think in this way that we are going to train a person who is very fatty or obese, and we are going to train him for running. So unless we understand that how he will be carrying that much of weight of the body by his muscles and how the muscles react with those particular body weight, we cannot train him correctly. So at first we need to make him little bit slimmer or little bit thinner, and then we can do a better training activity. So we have to understand how the body functions, how it stores different metabolites, how it works with the muscles. Then only we can understand the subject better. So in this module we will be discussing about the cell, the structural unit of the human body, its detailed functions, its detailed function of its components, and then we will slowly move to tissues, organs and systems. So system functioning we will be explaining. So this will be our module structure in this lecture. Human body is composed of a large number of elements, among which a few elements in high quantity. You can see in this picture around 65% is oxygen, 18% is carbon, 10% is hydrogen, and nitrogen is only about 3%. 4% of other material are there. That other material include phosphorus, calcium, iron, zinc, and large number of trace elements. If we extract the human body in water and non-water component, that means solid component, then the water component is 60 to 70% and solid component is 30 to 40%. So essentially human body is made of water and a small quantity of solid material. This was the gross structure which is normally taken into account. But if we look into the details of the human body structure, then we should start at the level of cell. Initially, scientists tried to find out the structure of the human body by dissecting the human body, and after this tried to find out what are there in the smaller component. This was possible only after the discovery of microscope. Microscope was discovered by Robert Hooke in around 1665, and he actually found that these cork cells, the normal bottle cork cells, they are made of small cellular structures, and that was the first time in the world history of science the smallest component of a living body was discovered. Afterwards, in 1839, Schwann reported that all living body contains smaller compartments, and those he gave the name cell, and that is how the concept of animal cell came out. You can see a picture of the discovery of Robert Hooke. This is a picture of the microscope he invented, and he had worked with this microscope for a long time. But the present microscopes are much more complex and there are so many varieties possible. Let us start with the structure of the cell. Here is a picture of a cell, a typical animal cell, although all the animal cells does not look like this, and we have included almost all types of components that can be found in different types of cells. The cell is covered by cell membrane, and cell membrane is actually gives the structure of the cell, and it protects from the external injuries, and it separates the cell from the environment or adjacent cells. The membrane is permeable to specific material. It can also throw out material through the membrane system. In the next picture, you can see that within the membrane there is a liquid material which is known as cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is not exactly water. It contains a lot of either adsorbed material or dissolved material in this structure, so it becomes a dense fluid, and within this dense fluid, subcellular structures are floating. And this cell cytoplasm is mainly the life of the cell, and all the subcellular organelles are taking material from here and giving it back to the cytoplasm. Then you can see here mitochondria. Mitochondria are normally called as powerhouse of the cell, especially in case of when we talk of sports performance. They produce lot of energy. All the aerobic activities are dependent on mitochondria. More than one mitochondria is found in specific cells of aerobic runners, means long distance runners. These mitochondria produce lot of ATPs, adenosine triphosphates, and that gives energy. And this is the place where the cellular metabolism takes place. That means cellular oxidation takes place, cytochrome chain takes place. So this is a very, very important organelle within the cell. And you can see the smaller structures within the mitochondria. There is a convoluted system which is known as cristae, and within the cristae there are many granular substances which are known as ribosomes. They do chemical reactions, and because the cristae is there, convolutions are there, the total surface area is increased tremendously. So huge quantity of metabolism can take place in such an environment. Next we can see nucleus. Nucleus is the organelle where all kinds of genetical material is held. So DNA, RNA, everything is there, and within the nucleus there is another material which is called as nucleolus, and that nucleolus, specific organelle within the nucleus that synthesize the messenger RNA and DNA. You can see in the picture a set of small tubular structure arranged in stack, and these are known as Golgi complex or Golgi body, or sometimes simply Golgi. This particular organelle was identified in 1897 by the Italian physician Golgi, and it is actually named after him. It is an organelle that is responsible for modification and storing of proteins. It packages protein into membrane-bound vesicles inside the cell, and these vesicles are sent to other parts of the cell for function. Attached with the nucleus, there is a convoluted tubular structure which ends in the cell membrane. This structure is known as endoplasmic reticulum. This endoplasmic reticulum has two parts. One is called as smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and the other is called as rough endoplasmic reticulum. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum does not contain any small beads like ribosome, which you can see in the right side of the cell, the rough surface where the small beads are there. So that component, that part particularly is called as rough endoplasmic reticulum, and this part which is attached with the nucleus is known as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum actually synthesize the lipids, metabolize the carbohydrates, and do some kind of detoxification from drugs and poisons. And also they store calciums, especially in muscle cells. These smooth endoplasmic reticulum are functioning as the storehouse of calciums. Whenever electrical impulse arrives, these calciums are released and muscle contraction takes place. Rough endoplasmic reticulum, they are a network of membranes or sac-like structures called cisternae, and they have rough surface because of the adherence of small pieces of ribosomes, and these ribosomes store and transport material throughout the cell, especially the protein material. You can see a small structure near the cell membrane that is known as vacuole, and this vacuole contains normally water, salt, and other important substances, and these vacuoles are helpful in breaking down food material, and actually these are called as digestive system of a cell. Ribosomes are small granular structures which are present in the endoplasmic reticulum, but also they are present throughout the cytoplasm in different parts of the cells. You can see here in the screen, in the picture, the small granule-like structures, they are ribosomes, and these ribosomes are normally, they take up messenger RNA which comes out from the nucleus, and they produce protein. There are other cylinder-like structures present within the cell that is called centriole, and these centrioles are located within the cell normally in sets, in pairs. Two cylinder-like structures are present as side by side. there can be more centrioles within a cell, more than one, and these two cylinders are normally adjacent with each other, and they take part in cell division. Whenever the cell wants to multiply in many numbers of cells, then that process starts in the centriole. Except all these things, there are many other structures which are not shown in this picture. They are called lysosomes. We have learned about the cell, but the human body, when we look in a whole human body, then we don't see cells. We see different structures like hands, legs, face, the abdomen, chest. So these structures we normally see. We don't see a cell. And these bigger structures we need to know, because when try to do training, then understanding about the bigger structure will become very, very important. To know about the human body components, people have dissected the human body. You can see a dissection table and a human body. These dead human bodies are normally called as cadavers, and people dissect it to learn about what is there inside the body. The human body, if we classify in terms of aggregation of cells, then there are different kinds of tissues, different kinds of organs, there are different kinds of systems, and finally all these make the human body. Tissue, if we classify the tissue, there are basically 4 types of human tissue available. One is known as epithelial tissue, another is connective tissue, another is muscular tissue, and fourth one is nervous tissue. These tissues are organized in particular structures which are known as organs, and a number of organs combine together to give rise to a system, and a number of systems totally aggregated becomes the human body. These are cells, specialized cells that protect different organs of the body, covers surface of the body, cover internal organs like digestive tract, reproductive tract and air passage, and also perform secretive function and absorption function. 4 different types of epithelial tissue have been identified in the human being. They are known as squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium, and transitional epithelium. Let us see the pictures. Squamous epithelium is normally seen within the mouth. One can simply lift his lip and scrape from the inside, and that will give a lot of squamous cell on that scraped material. And if we stain that scraped material, then it looks like this. They are known as squamous epithelium. This is stained in red color. Except this, there are other kinds of epithelium known as cuboidal epithelium. Cuboidal epithelium are normally found within the digestive tract, blood vessels, and some structures like those. There is another kind of epithelium you can see here called as columnar epithelium, which looks like standing columns, and these columnar epithelium remains in the surface of the digestive tract. And these columnar epithelium are also very good in the function of absorption. There is another kind of epithelium which is known as transitional epithelium, and in prostate also transitional epithelium can be seen. 4 types of cell just now I have described is basically classification in terms of the shape of the epithelial cells. There are other types of classifications possible. Next tissue we describe here is muscular tissue, and muscle is a tissue that gives movement to the human body. Muscle cells are classified based on different characteristics like microscopic feature, site of presence, and also functional characteristics. If we talk of microscopic feature, then we can classify the muscle in 2 types. One is striated muscle, another is non-striated muscle. In striated muscle, we include cardiac muscle and skeletal muscle, and in non-striated muscle, we include smooth muscle that is present within the viscera, means in the digestive system and blood vessels. If we classify according to the site of presence, then cardiac muscle is present in the heart, so it is basically known as heart muscle. There are other muscles which are attached to the bone, that is known as skeletal muscle because it is attached to the skeleton. and visceral muscle, third kind. The visceral muscles are muscles which are present within the viscera. That means that the material that is present within the abdominal part and chest part. So it's not essentially it is only the chest cavity or abdomen. It also goes within the limbs where blood vessels are present. Skeletal muscles are the largest group of muscles in terms of muscle mass, and it is about 40% of the body mass. So if a man weighs around 100 kg, then 40 kg will be his skeletal muscle. You can see here pictures of skeletal muscle, smooth muscle and cardiac muscle. In the skeletal muscle, you can see many nucleus in one particular muscle cell and the transverse striations. In smooth muscle, the transverse striations are not there, so they are not striated. But in cardiac muscle, there are transverse striations. However, the arrangement of cardiac muscle is such that one muscle cell is connecting to another muscle cell through a branching. Because of this kind of arrangement, the transmission of electrical impulse in the heart becomes very easier. So in one particular cell, electricity is generated and the whole heart can get that transmission because all the muscle cells are interconnected. Third kind of tissue is connective tissue. As the name suggests, these connective tissue are in different places of the human body like bone, blood and other skeletal-muscular junctions. There are a lot of connective tissue present. The fat cells, adipose tissue, is also a kind of connective tissue. In the picture you can see a slide of the blood where you can observe some white blood cells and red blood cells. If the red blood cells are scanned under scanning electron microscope, then it looks like this. There is a small indentation within the red blood cell, and this matured red blood cell does not contain any kind of nucleus. You can see here the cross section of the skeletal tissue, that means bone tissue. In bone tissue, these small black structures are blood vessels, and around the blood vessels there are bone calcification masses in circular structure, and the blood cells are arranged in different fashions. After these connective tissue, the last kind of tissue and the most important one is nervous tissue. Nervous tissue is comprised of cells of nervous system. These tissue carry electrical impulses and perform many complex functions. Cells of nervous tissue are known as neurons. I will show the neuron structure in a later slide. Organ is a collection of tissue performing a set of specific function. Organs are like heart, liver, stomach. They are inside the body. You can see a picture of the liver, a heart and a part of the pancreas and intestine. These are organs, and many organs, when combined together to perform a particular activity, then it is called as system. Systems of the human body are interlinked and affect functioning of each other. Any kind of stimulus or disturbance in one system is spread to other systems. Let us start with the skeletal system. Skeletal system is composed of basically bones and cartilages above the bones. There are ligaments that attach two bones, and there are tendons that attach muscle with the bone. There are in total 206 pieces of bone in the human body, 200 pieces in different sizes. There are very small bones and there are long bones. And the whole skeleton of the body can be divided in three parts or three sets rather. These parts are axial skeleton, appendicular skeleton and auditory ossicles. Axial skeleton provides structural framework and supports body organs. Parts of the axial skeleton are skull, the vertebral column, ribs and sternum, and the hyoid bone. In total there are 74 in number. Skull contains 22 bones, vertebral column contains 26 bones, and the chest structure, chest cage, that contains 25 bones. Hyoid bone is only one piece. There are two appendicular structures, the upper body appendicular structure known as upper extremity, and there is lower body appendicular structure known as lower extremity. The upper extremity include the clavicle, scapula, humerus, radius and ulna, and the bones of the hand. Lower extremity include the pelvic girdle, patella, femur, tibia, fibula, and the foot bones. The total number of appendicular bone is 126. Upper extremity has 64 bones and lower extremity has 62 bones. Auditory system contains 6 small bones. 3 bones are in the middle ear, that is known as stapes, incus and malleus, and 3 bones combined together form the vestibular structure. In vestibule, there are 3 semicircular canals that generate the auditory impulses, and these vestibular canals also control the body posture. Muscular system is composed of striated muscles, skeletal muscles. So skeletal muscles, if we count in the whole body, there are more than 650 skeletal muscles. In some human being, there are 651, because in many human beings, the palmaris longus muscle is not present. Muscles are basically, they produce motion, they maintain the posture, and they also produce lot of heat. That is very important in a cold climate living. The amount of heat that can be generated in a muscle, that can compensate a lot of heat loss in a cold environment. And these muscles allow manipulation of the environment through the motion of the extremities. You can see one picture of the front side of the human body, the superficial muscles you can find here, and the back side of the human body also shown. These are also superficial muscles, but once we cut down the superficial muscles, there are a lot of deep muscles, smaller muscles. In case of sports training, the attachment and insertion of the muscles in the bone is very, very important, because the contraction of each muscle will cause a particular type of motion in a particular angle. Then we come to respiratory system. Respiratory system actually is there to supply oxygen and throw off the carbon dioxide produced in the body. You can see here the picture of respiratory system that starts from the nose and ends in the alveoli. There are 2 lungs, right lung and left lung. Depending on the position of the heart, the size of the right and left lung will change. In general, it is seen that heart is present in the left side of the body, so the size of the left lung is little smaller than the right side lung. Actually, right side lung, in case of heart present in the left side, right side lung can be divided in 3 lobes, but left side lung can be divided only in 2 lobes. So it is little smaller. But when in some rare cases the heart can be in the right side of the body, in that case this picture will be reversed. That means the right side lung will have 2 lobes and left side lung will have 3 lobes. These lungs are connected with the small types of tubing structure that is known as bronchioles. Then bronchioles combine together to form bronchus, and 2 bronchus from the left side and right side combine together to form the trachea, and that trachea goes to the nose side. So this is the total respiratory system structure. Then we come to cardiovascular system. Cardiovascular system is actually a part of the total circulatory system of the body. Circulatory system of the body is composed of cardiovascular system, then the lymphatic system, both. Cardiovascular system has a function of supplying nutrients and oxygen to the body and carrying the waste products to required organs of the body, where it will be converted to some other material or it will be thrown out of the body, and it maintains the acid-base balance. You can see the picture of the heart in diastole condition and systole condition. Systole means when the heart is contracting and pushing the blood out of the heart. Diastole means when the heart is relaxing and pulling the blood inside. Lymphatic system is actually a system which has got no outward mechanism, it is only inward mechanism. In case of cardiovascular system, the arteries go out of the heart to different body parts and veins bring that blood towards the heart. So there is a arterial and venous system. But in case of lymphatic system, there is no such structure, it is only a venous system. The fluids present in the different interstitial portion, that means between 2 cells, that fluid is brought back to the heart by lymphatic system. Failure of the lymphatic system can cause lot of swelling in the body, that is called normally edema. In general, lymphatic system drains about 3 liters of fluid to the heart. You can see the lymphatic system structure, so it is only one-sided. The next system we will describe is digestive system. Digestive system is functionally performs the digestion of the food and absorption of the food, and this system also excretes the indigestible foodstuff through feces. Digestive system includes oral cavity, tongue, teeth, esophagus, stomach, intestine, rectum, anus. It also includes salivary glands in the mouth, pancreas, gallbladder and liver. You see the structures here. Mouth. In mouth there is tongue, which helps in the movement of the food within the mouth. There are salivary glands here in the mouth area. Then it is connected to the stomach through esophagus. Then stomach has a structure like this, and stomach is connected with pancreas and liver through bile duct and pancreatic duct. And then there are colon portion after small intestine. Colon portion has got 3 components. One is ascending colon, transverse colon and descending colon. Colon is the part of the body which holds lot of gas, and abdominal distension normally happens in the upper side of the colon, that means in the transverse colon, which can be tapped and the sound can be heard of the gas sound. This gas formation happens because of the retaining of the food material within the colon for longer duration. Nutritionally, that is why it is very important to take certain material which will be excreted. Otherwise, there will be more retention in the large intestine and more gas formation is there that will hamper the sporting performance. Another system that is important for human body is endocrine system. Endocrine system is a system that controls the human body functions in parallel to the nervous system. Nervous system controls the functions of total body, including the endocrine system. The endocrine system secretes chemicals that is now called as hormones, and these hormones are actually the chemical compounds that regulate the chemical reactions of the whole body. In the upper body, there are 2 endocrine glands. One is thyroid gland, another is parathyroid gland. In the brain, in front side, there is hypothalamus that secretes a lot of hormone. Thyroid secretes some hormone that is important for metabolic mechanism. There is a gland called pineal gland which secretes melatonin that is very important in the control of sleep mechanism. There are 2 parts of the pituitary gland. One is called anterior pituitary, another is posterior pituitary. These pituitary glands, they secrete hormones. Above the pituitary there is hypothalamus which secretes some hormone releasing factors that controls the secretion of pituitary gland hormones and hormones of other glands. Pancreas is an organ that produces enzymes for digestion and also that produces 2 hormones to control the blood sugar level. Except the blood sugar level control by insulin and glucagon, there is somatostatin, another hormone which controls the functions of fat metabolism, and there are other pancreatic polypeptide which functions in some metabolic control. The gland above the kidney are known as adrenal gland, and these glands has lot of secretions. In one side there are secretions of corticoid hormones or androgens, and in the other side there is secretion of adrenaline, dopamine and enkephalin. Adrenaline is a very critical hormone which controls our arousal and anger. Except these things, there are other hormones secreted in the kidney that is known as erythropoietin, very important for blood production. There is renin, important for kidney function. There are other many hormones which are secreted by liver that is known as angiotensin, angiotensinogen and thrombopoietin. They are all important in control of blood pressure and blood coagulation. In the lower part of the body, the reproductive organs are present. In the reproductive organs, in case of females, there is ovary that produces about 4 hormones. One is progesterone, another is estrogen, and third is androstenedione. Progesterone and estrogen is important for all female birth functions, and androstenedione is a precursor hormone of these two hormones. When a child is conceived in female, then a placenta structure is formed in the uterus, and that structure secretes lot of hormones. One of them is human chorionic gonadotropin hormone. Testis is present in male. It secretes androgen. Common terms we call it testosterone, and this testosterone is typically a male hormone, and this male hormone gives lot of muscle growth. Although in female this testosterone is not secreted as such, but androstenedione takes this function of testosterone. Excretory system is composed of kidneys, the tubing of uterus and urinary bladder, then urethra. This is a kidney system, excretory system of the kidney. Except this, liver also functions as excretory system, and sweat glands also function as excretory system. The function of the excretory system is to eliminate waste products of the body, regulate the fluid and electrolyte balance, and maintain acid-base balance of the body. It is very important to remember that if the pH of the blood changes to acid side, then many metabolic functions will stop. So you can see a picture of the kidney here, two kidneys, right and left kidneys. In general, we see that left kidney is placed in a little higher position than the right kidney, and there is ureter that goes to urinary bladder, and from urinary bladder it goes to the out of the body. Reproductive system. In male it consists of testis, seminal vesicles, penis and urethra, and in female it consists of ovaries, fallopian tubes, ureter and vagina. Mammary gland is not a part of the reproductive system. The function of the reproductive system is to produce offspring. Testes produce sperm cells and ovaries produce egg cells, and both combine together and produce the new offspring. The outer part of the body is covered by some kind of layer that is called as integumentary system or the skin system. Skin is very, very important because externally it protects body from outer injuries, but it also functions to synthesize vitamin D and excretion of lot of metabolites. Nervous system of the body is a final controller of the body. It consists of a brain which is encapsulated in the skull, and there is a process of long nerve tissues which supplies almost every part of the body. You can see the picture here that after cerebrum there is a cerebellum in the backside of the skull, then a cord-like structure which is known as spinal cord. It comes down from spinal cord. Lot of branching of the nerve cells happen, and it supplies all over the body. You see here the cerebrum and cerebellum and the trunk-like structure which goes below to form the spinal cord. A typical nerve cell is also shown here. There is a cell body, and there are lot of branches to connect with other nerve cells, and a long branch to connect with other organs like liver, muscle cells, like that. Human body has certain organs which as such does not come under any system, but they do important functions, and those important functions like vision, hearing, taste, smell, touch, these 5 senses are there. In total, they act like a system, but it is never called as a system. They are called as special senses. So special senses, you can see a picture here of the eye. In eye, there is a lens which is transparent, and through this lens, the light signal goes to the retina, where the picture is converted into electrical signal, and that electrical signal is understood by the brain as a picture. So there is a physical structure to have a camera-like function to form an image on the retina, and retinal image is then digitized and understood by the brain. In the ear, we hear because of the presence of this auditory device, ear, and this auditory device has an external outlet which is the external ear, and that from that external ear a canal-like structure goes inside and ends in a membrane which is called tympanic membrane. With the tympanic membrane, there are three bones attached, stapes, malleus and incus, and these three bones transmit the vibration of the tympanic membrane through the internal hearing mechanism which is known as cochlea. And cochlea actually is the vestibular apparatus which has got three semicircular canals. These semicircular canals can understand the position of the head. It can actually function as a controller mechanism for the human posture. If somebody loses hearing, it is also possible that he will lose his posture control mechanism. So hearing and posture control is intimately related. We will not talk about the touch and smell and taste function here, because up to this we will be concerned in sports activities. So this is the part which will help you in learning the gross structure of the system, and in the next module we will talk about the details of each system.